Fan Broadcasting Network.
43-time 20-goal scorer goes to the net. Right down the slot. It's Vince Dunn, and he scores. Going back to last season, Pasternak. Now it's 61 goals in his last 83 games as his one-timer finds the back of the net. Through center out in the goal. Ovechkin has it in neutral towards the empty cage. He scores again. Alex Ovechkin going closer to 800. Who's the draw? Now it's a 3-on-2 for the Stars. Lindell carries up across ice. Landry, and they score! Glendening went to the net, redirects it. A short-handed goal makes it 4-1 Dallas. That will not make the coach happy.
What the puck is going on?
All right. Happy Monday, everybody. We are here in the Deep End Broadcasting Studio. This is What the Puck is Going On. We have survived Super Bowl Sunday.
Barely.
Not by much, but we are here. We're going to break down the slate for you. Only 5 games on here, so figure it'll go rather quickly. None of these games are, really all that exciting anyway. I think the Florida Panthers playing the Minnesota Wild tonight will probably be in the most interest of us here in the studio as the playoff race is heating up. And the Panthers are not very far behind the Capitals. Other than that, the Kings game, they're playing the Buffalo Sabres. This one's in L.A. That might have some interest to us as well, as Buffalo is not very far behind. So maybe one to keep an eye on there. I'm sure we can find some kind of play coming out of that. We'll also update you on the standings as we do every Monday. And we'll go ahead and jump right into that. We're going to go Eastern Conference here in the Atlantic Division. Boston Bruins still ahead at 39, 8-5. That's good for 83 points. Toronto's second place in that division at 32, 14-8. And that's going to be good for 72 points. So they're not too far there behind Boston. Maybe if you're looking in the futures, as we always do at the end. I still, probably wouldn't trust Toronto all that much, but they are there. Crazier things have happened. So maybe futures-wise, we can find a little bit of a price we like there. Tampa Bay is going to be third in this division at 34, 16-2, and that's good for 70 points. So the second and third spot there in the Atlantic looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. The Lightning only 2 points behind. So figure there might be some flip-flopping there, which come playoff time will be interesting for the seeding purposes. So let's jump into the Metro. We have the Carolina Hurricanes at 34, 10-8, and that's going to be good for 76 points. New Jersey, second place in this division at 34, 13-5. That's good for 73 points. So look, the Devils only 3 points behind the Hurricanes for the Metropolitan Division. So if you're still thinking about playing futures or anything like that, maybe we find a little bit of value there as well. And look here, the New York Rangers, third place in the Metropolitan Division, 31, 14-8, and that's good for 70 points. So pretty tight stuff going on there in the Metro, so that might be something to keep an eye on. We'll definitely here in the studio be keeping an eye on it, but as far as, value-wise and other plays that can be made here, definitely something to keep an eye on, and we'll do that in the futures too at the end. Maybe it'll be a little bit different than the last show we did. Maybe we'll get some different kind of values. Steve, anything to add there in the Eastern Conference catching your eye?
You talked about the Devils. They went from, I know we'll talk about the futures later, but they were paying over 4-1 last week to win that division. Now they're down to around plus 280, plus 290, depending on where you look. You might even get a better price. But the Devils have closed that gap on Carolina a little bit. And we thought that was a good time to buy on them. So now that they're creeping closer, we'll see if that number continues to dwindle down, and maybe they'll retake lead in that division. They'll be big Minnesota Wild fans tonight. That's for sure.
Indeed. So yeah, definitely getting a little interesting there. So certainly we'll be keeping an eye on that. Let's jump here into the Western Conference. Starting out in the Central Division, Dallas Stars leading that division at 30, 14, and 10. That's going to be good for 70 points. Winnipeg, not very far behind. They are in second place at 33, 19, and 1. That's going to be good for 76 points, so still pretty tight there. I know at least myself, I've been talking a lot about that 1 and 2 there in the Central, so still keeping an eye on that. That's still, as tight as we probably think it's going to be. So Colorado's in third place in this division at 28, 19, and 4, and they're going to be good for 60 points. So right around where they were at the last time out that we talked. So not much movement there, but the 1 and 2 definitely interesting for the Central. In the Pacific Division, we have the Vegas Golden Knights now leading this division at 32, 18, and 4. That's going to be good for 68 points. Seattle Kraken have dropped down to second in this division at 30, 18, and 5, and that's going to be good for 65 points. So they're not very far behind either. But look at this. Here they come. The Edmonton Oilers, third place in this division at 30, 19, and 5. And they are actually tied for second, as that is good for 65 points as well. So we expect that to have some movement on it as well. Edmonton playing a little bit more like the team we expected them to be. So I think that's going to be definitely something to keep an eye on, especially coming down the stretch. I know that they would really like to win this division and have good seeding for the playoffs. So that's the updated standings. Not much movement. A couple divisions with some tightness. One there in the Pacific. They've got some movement there. Steve, anything for the Western Conference?
Vegas, who I was ready to bury about 6 feet under, they've seemed to have been playing very well as of late. That's the one thing that I'll take note of. The other thing is even though they've played a 500 record in their last 10, they still have won 2 in a row, and Winnipeg is still up there, and their price is actually dwindling too, where New Jersey's price is evaporating. But on a shorter term, you've had Winnipeg available at a really good price all season long, but that number has finally started to come down. Yeah,
as we expected that it probably would. All right, so let's just jump right into the slate here. Like I said, about 5 games. I see us going through this pretty quickly. I only have a couple little plays this evening. So we'll start out here with the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, I think everyone's a little gambled out from the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I tell you what, I didn't go very heavy. I really only have the 1 ticket in. And honestly, Steve, I just did that. I was like, let's just take a shot at it, see what's out there. If it does, great. If not, I'm really not too worried about that either. So the Calgary Flames are in Ottawa taking on the Senators. It's worth noting here, I was thinking initially with this game that this could be a sneaky Ottawa Senators play here. And the reason is they are 4-1 in their last 5. This is a home game. Calgary got a big win last time out, but they really, really needed that win to kind of keep afloat in the playoff race. So Ottawa is at home at a plus 140 price on the money line. Over under is 6.5. I think that may be achievable here. That's at minus 115. Probably not a terrible price for that. I don't know, Steve. Real quickly, what do you think about this? Can we get a sneaky Ottawa play here, knowing that we know they're a pesky team, and they have been playing well their last couple games.
Let's see here. So they've scored 154 goals now, which is still lower end of the league. They've given up 165, which is about mid-pack. They are better at home, 14, 12, and 1 overall than they are on the road. Let's see. As far as Calgary goes, they're getting smoked early at Buffalo, and then I don't know what happened. They flipped the switch and went on to win, I think 7-2.
Yeah, they beat them up pretty bad.
So that's a nice win for them. You kind of just think that at some point Calgary is just going to kind of keep surging, and although they are fifth in their division in the Pacific, they do still have a +8 goal differential. They've scored 169 now. They've gave up 161. As far as the injuries go, Rasmus Anderson goes on the injury list today for him. In fact, the injury list is very long here on a Monday, that's for sure. In fact, Saturday and Sunday as well. So maybe some things to catch up with there. But team by team wise with the injuries, you see your boy Tom Wilson's hurt again too, right?
Yeah.
So Calgary comes in relatively healthy. Just Anderson is on there, and Killington is out for personal reasons. So he's going to be gone here for about another week or so. As far as the Senators go today, they are a little banged up. Nothing too crazy, but Cam Talbot is going to be out. Josh Norris, Jake Sanderson, Anton Forsberg, all out. And Forsberg's going to be lost for some time now. He's going to be gone until mid-April anyway. So he's got a bad knee. I would expect Calgary to win at home. Win this on the road. Maybe with the chance that they're starting to really flip the script and just being better overall and a more quality team as opposed to what they were. Now they're 5-4-1 in their last 10, so they're still right at a 500 team and inconsistent as all be. But maybe this is a time they can go on a run, especially after coming back from that deficit against Buffalo and scoring emphatically like they have. They really needed a big breakout game offensively. The Senators are the kind of team that kind of keep them on that path. I would expect Calgary to win this game, but generally with the pricing here, let me take a quick look what I got. It's too heavy. I could even see this going to overtime, so I don't even know if the money line with the 60 minutes tempts me, but I guess it does. At -102, that's pretty much a straight bet. So if you're going to take a chance with anyone, then might as well be a Calgary, I reckon. If you have to play something,
right. I don't know, Steve. I'm going to take out of this game. I'm going to go with the Senators team total at over 2.5. It's at a -150 price. But we're asking for the Senators to score 3 goals at home, and I think they can do that. So that would probably be my takeaway from this game. Not super excited about it, really, but so.
Yeah, I could see that. 3 game. I like the over 2.5 any time, really.
Right. All right, next game we have the Arizona Coyotes are in Nashville to play the Predators. This is a game that I would expect the Predators to win. The over-under is at 6. Coyotes are +200 on the money line. And again, this is I'm not sure if I had already – I think I may have had a play on this game. I think I threw that in there. Let's see here.
Injury-wise, I can go over that real quick. Let's see what we got.
Oh, yeah, I had over 2.5 team goals for the Coyotes at +105, Steve.
Yeah, that's a cheap number. They've showed some occasional spunk on offense. Injury-wise, the Coyotes aren't too bad off, just a few players. Nothing serious for the most part. Everyone's, for the most part, day to day are just going to be out a couple of games is what it looks like. And that list is minimal. For Nashville, they are, pretty healthy as well. They will miss Philip Forsberg. He'll be out. Mark Borowiecki is going to be out. Alexander Carrier, we talked about him last week. He's still going to be out for the month. But the other two guys should be back soon. As far as where they sit with what they've been doing and their recent form, Arizona, if we take a look at them, they're seventh in their Central Division, minus 47 on the goal differential. They've given up 189 goals, which is a ton of goals. They've scored 142, which is in the lower half, but they are 4-3-3 in their last 10. So they do take you to overtime for the most part, but really bad on the road. 6-20-6 on the road. They do have a winning record at home, if you can believe that, but 6-20-6 on the road against a kind of a pesky Nashville team, and they don't score much, but they don't yield much either. One of the lower scoring teams in the league, but they've also allowed the least amount of goals, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. This just kind of looks like a potential under game again to me, to be honest. If you look at it that way, your Monday night underplay, this might be one you can go take home with you, Nashville and Arizona. But that's relatively about it. I'm going to have a no play on this for sure.
Yeah, Steve, and I was just getting ready to say the same thing. At the under over 6 mark here, I think this could certainly be a under type of game. So that's probably the only other way that I would play this one. I did play, like I said, the Coyotes to see if they can get 3 goals. Like I said, just a little something to, check on every once in a while, but maybe that or the under. I like that play a lot as well. All right, next game up, the Florida Panthers are in Minnesota to play the Wild. Over under is 6.5. You're getting plus 100 on the under, so seems like we are going to be expecting some goals in this one. Both teams are minus 110 on the money line. So let's open up the menu here, see if there's some kind of play in here. I might even do the race to goals here. Let's check that out. We haven't looked at that in a while. This might be, if we're expecting goals in this one, maybe we can jump on this train here. Yeah, and the race to 3 goals, that's when it starts to get good. You have the Florida Panthers at plus 115. Then you have the Minnesota Wild at plus 125. And if either team's going to get to 4 goals, the Florida Panthers are going to pay out plus 175, while the Minnesota Wild are going to pay out plus 190. If I'm going to mess around in this game, I tell you what, I would probably just attack it this way instead of, if we're thinking the under, leave that alone. Let's see, Florida to get to 4 goals at plus 175 is probably an intriguing play to me. So I think that's how I would attack this one. It'd be pretty short and sweet here. I don't want to, overlook the menu and start thinking about it too much. I think the Panthers race to 4 goals plus 175 would be a good play coming out of this one.
Interesting. This is an interesting game. Minnesota not playing as good as they were, just 4-6 now in their last 10. The Panthers, if we look at them, where they've been wildly inconsistent all year, that's for sure, but maybe playing better as of late. We talked about that too last week. 5-3-2 in their last 10. Their road record's not very good. 11-15-3. That's what worries me about this. Minnesota 16-9-1 at home, and right about middle of the pack is Minnesota in scoring goals and allowing goals with a +6. Florida is a +2. They have scored a ton of goals, but they give up a lot of goals too. They've given up 190, which is shocking considering the goalie down there, Bobrovsky, right?
Right.
So the Panthers, maybe again, are they in the same boat as Calgary, where they might start to try to turn it on and play much, much better? They by no means are a guarantee for the playoffs, that's for sure. And they trail Tampa Bay by 12 points. So they are well out of reach of third place in the Atlantic. And anywhere close to the top, really. Boston is. I'm amazed Toronto still is only 11 points back, to be honest. And Tampa Bay kind of hanging around too in third place. But Florida, I would expect them to. This is a hard game. It just is. I would give the edge to Minnesota at home for sure. You said you like goals in this game?
I think so. If that's the way things are trending, I mean, you got a plus money price on the under. Then the -120 is going to be your over payout for 6.5. So it seems like things are trending that it may go that way. And that's why, if that's going to be the thought, I'm going to try and, take advantage of the Panthers maybe playing a little bit better as of late. That's definitely, good to consider the road record you just mentioned with Minnesota playing decently at home. But I think the thing for me is, Minnesota, like you said, 4-6 in their last 10. How much, trust, if you've seen it, I watched a little bit of one of their games the other night. It's just kind of hard to trust what they're doing. I'm sure they'll bounce back. They're a decent team, and I would expect them to. But with the plus price, I think I would probably just take a shot there, Steve. Panthers with the goals.
Let's see. The Panthers over 3.5 is +126, and the Minnesota over 3.5 is +130. So you can actually take them both and hope they both get to 4 goals and make this a real good shootout. And as long as one team just gets to 4, even if the other team just gets 1, then if you do the same amount on the bet, you'll still make a small profit. So that might be one way to look at it.
Right. Yeah, that would be probably a good way to play this one too, which is, and otherwise
you might win both, and if you just win one, you're still going to get a plus money profit.
Exactly. And I would have to agree again, Steve, that it's a difficult game to figure out. Both of the teams, they're decent teams, so definitely a tough game to go about. So maybe that's a good way to come out of it. So let's get into the next game here. This one, I don't know. Detroit Red Wings are in Vancouver to play the Canucks. Over under again is 6.5. So the under is paying +110. So again, it looks like we're expecting some goals in this one, which I could definitely see that. I do feel like Detroit is a little bit better of a team than the Canucks. The Detroit Red Wings are going to pay out -105 on the money line, -115 for the Canucks. I believe Detroit was a 5-2 winner last time out. And I think if I'm going to do something with this, I'm going to go and I want to look at their totals and see if they can ride that and maybe try and do it again. Over 3.5 is at +110. I'm sure Steve will tell us the differential, but I do believe the Canucks, they do let quite a few goals past them as well. And if a young, Detroit team can come in there and kind of take advantage of that, I think the team total goals is something to look at for sure. What do you think, Steve?
So as far as Detroit goes, they are -14. They are a 500 team on the road though, and they have won 2 in a row. And they are over 500, so 23, 20, and 8 for Detroit. And when I say over 500, I'm just in the wins and losses. We're not going to count the overtime loss in that scenario. which actually makes them below 500 if you look at it that way. But as far as winning in regulation, they're over 500. The Canucks, yes, they are a leaky team. They've given up 212 goals, but have scored 180, and they've been an over machine as far as first period overs, first goals in the first 10 minutes to be scored props over in their games. 3-6-1 in their last 10, and they did lose their last time out. They're just not a very good hockey team. They've been injured and banged up all year long. They have about 8 players on the injured list, and most of those guys have been on there for the majority of the season. Detroit does come in relatively healthy, so you have a good point with the young Red Wings here, and opportunity for them to get a road win, in which they do play very well on the road. So Detroit looks like a decent play for me. If you're going to go that route, I feel like Vancouver will trail you to overtime too, though. But 154 on the 60-minute line if you want Detroit. And then as far as the total goals for the 60 minutes, Red Wings are over 3.5 plus 130 is what I see on mine. And Vancouver is over 3.5 at plus 112. So again, I mean, that's the same kind of bet that you could do as the last game that we talked about, if you with Florida and Minnesota. If you want to take both teams over 3.5 points or 3.5 goals, then you can at least get a plus return if you just get one team to 4.
Right. And I think, Steve, also looking at the race to goals, getting a plus 125 price for the Red Wings to get to 3 first. I like that. So that would be another way that you could attack this one again if things are trending, towards the over. All right. So here we go. We're on to the last game. Buffalo Sabres are in LA to take on the Kings. And this one, I tell you what, this one could be a shootout too.
Yeah, they got some odd matchups tonight.
That's for sure. They are. They really are. LA Kings a 5-0 winner over the Penguins their last time out. So, and we know Buffalo can score. We've been seeing that consistently. They are able to score, and I think now LA is able to score as well. Over under is 6.5. Again, plus 110 for the under, minus 130 for the over. So we see how things are trending here. And I would have to agree. I think this has over goals written all over it. The Kings are at home. So we'll take a look at the race, and then we'll look at the team total. The Kings to get 3 first at minus 105. I guess I'm not too mad at that. But I think maybe the team totals might be a good way to look at this. Over 3.5 for the Kings is minus 120. Over 3.5 for the Sabres is plus 135. That could be better. We know they can, like we said, we know they can score. I don't know. What do you think, Steve? I'm thinking totals here, but
yeah, I mean, both these teams are in the upper half of the league, upper 70% of the league, really, of scoring and allowing goals. So this has over written all over it. I agree with that. Both teams are relatively healthy, too. Los Angeles just has a trio of players recently put on the IR. And besides the Ben Bishop injury, where he's been out all season for Buffalo, the Sabres have a clean slate in that regard. I'd be interested to kind of look at that again with the total team goals, see if you can get a split. Now, Buffalo heavily juiced to get over 2.5 at minus 166. And the Kings, they're expecting to get over 3.5 at minus 108. So you can't really do that split play there like we talked about in the other 2 games. But I could see a potential of this being a shootout for sure. Interesting game contract, as far as it gets distance wise in the map, really in the NHL, Buffalo to Los Angeles. So this is a long trip. West Coast swing starts, and the Sabres, after blowing that lead at home, you got to worry about their psyche a little bit, to be honest.
Right.
After getting smoked by Calgary. So I would actually, and with the Kings rolling against Pittsburgh, I would actually tend to lean towards the Kings at home here. And if you like them on the 60-minute line, you can get them straight up really at plus 102.
Yep, I was just about to say I have it at plus 105. And, yeah, with the Kings doing what they did, they're in a tight division, so they're going to bring their efforts. I think Kings' 60-minute line is probably the better play for the value anyway. All right, so that's all the games here. Let's take a quick look here at the futures, and then we will get out of here. So I would expect a little bit of movement here, Steve, as I pull this up, as there's been some of that flip-flopping there in the Pacific. So maybe those are going to help those numbers out a bit. Here we go. Team futures.
Lots of good games tomorrow night, too.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have Boston at Dallas tomorrow night. You have Tampa at Colorado tomorrow night. The Penguins will be on the West Coast. Panthers will be coming off a back-to-back. The Devils will be at the Blue Jackets, so they can kind of continue their surge. They should get a win there. We'll talk about this all tomorrow night. But a good slate of games. Hurricanes and Capitals, too. You'll like that. Right, Nephew Dave? So,
Oh, yeah.
a good slate of games tomorrow night we'll discuss at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, so let's go here in the Metro. To win the division, Carolina is minus 320. The Devils are at plus 330. You know what? Here's one, and I'm going to be curious to see kind of what you think, Steve. The New York Rangers at 12-1. I think that could be a sneaky play if they just absolutely surge through the back half of this season. They just got that trade.
Well, they're only 6 points back of first place.
Yeah.
So now's the time to buy them.
At 12-1, I mean, I think that is a really sneaky good play for that price. Everybody else really
5 in a row, 5 wins in a row for the Rangers.
Yeah. And I don't really see that slowing down. They are a pretty good team. And I think they have that chance to really surge in the back half of the season. Penguins, Caps, Islanders, Flyers, and Jackets. You're getting really big numbers on those. And I just don't see any of those happening. So I think for the Metro, it's got to be. I mean, you could certainly pick the Devils. They're right there too. If you wanted to go, with a little bit lower of a number. But I think I would really take a chance there with the Rangers with that 12-1 price. So let's look into the Central. We've been interested in this. The Dallas Stars minus 180 to win that division. Colorado at plus 380. And look, the Jets are only 3 points behind, and they're getting a bigger number than the Avalanche are. The Jets are now at plus 450. And then you have the Wild at 14-1. Not crazy about that. Again, if I'm going to pick anything out of the Central, I think it's got to be the Winnipeg Jets for me at that plus 450 price. Steve, anybody you like in the Central?
I thought Minnesota had a decent chance. I feel like they've fallen off a little bit. I wish I had that Stars number from back earlier in the season.
Right.
To be honest, but at minus 175 now, I can't see any value in that. The Jets, yeah, they're right there. I only see plus 360, so you're getting a better number over there yourself. That Avalanche line has just never moved, has it?
It really hasn't.
That's crazy.
It really hasn't. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll take a very quick look at the Atlantic. We really don't expect much to come out of that. The Maple Leafs 30-1, Lightning 30-1, and then it's really all just kind of downhill from there that you wouldn't even really need to worry about. So, again, I don't have anything. We can pretty much trust that Boston is going to win that division. So we're really just going to kind of leave that alone. But here we are. We're in the Pacific to wrap everything up. Vegas Golden Knights plus 240 to win the division. Oilers at plus 240 to win the division. The Kraken at plus 275. And then you have the Kings at plus 600. I tell you what, Steve, if I'm putting my money anywhere, I'm going to like, I guess, Edmonton, what they've been doing lately, they're making a little bit of a push. They did have a bad loss, I believe, their last time out. But those kind of things happen all the time. It's the ups and downs of the season. So a minor setback, but I think they kind of make a charge. And they're getting the same price that Vegas is, and Vegas leads that division. Not by much, but they are in the lead. So if it's me and I'm putting my money down, I think I'm going to take a shot with Edmonton. Steve, what do you think there? Specific, anything you like?
So if I'm looking at numbers now, and I like Edmonton, they're a team I like to root for. I like Draisaitl and McDavid. Here's the deal. You have these teams bunched up pretty good here. 68 points for first place Vegas. And then you have Seattle with 65, Edmonton with 65, the Kings with 65, and Calgary with 60. So if you look at the odds, everyone's still has fair game here. I was hoping you get a little bit better odds on Calgary at 8-1. But if you look at these teams and maybe they just beat up on each other, that's going to open the door for the one team that does stay hot against the common opponents here. Maybe Calgary's your team at plus 800. They can overtake that division still. All you need is the Kraken to beat that Oilers, the Kings to beat the Knights, and so forth and back and forth, and have these teams just kind of beat up on each other. But here's an interesting one. If you wanted to have some fun at this point in the season, you could take your Rangers at 11-1 to win the Metro. You could take Calgary at 8-1 to win the Pacific, and if you put down $10 on that, then you can win 1,070 right now. 2-game parlay for division winners. And if you want to split that in half with $5 each, maybe throw 5 on the Rangers and the Kings, since you're getting a nice number at plus 600 with the Kings still. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be a tough division down the stretch. I can't really say who I think is going to win, but if I was going to take some of these higher numbers on some of these teams closer, that's kind of the angle I would look at.
Right. I'd have to agree with you. That's going to be a tough division to get into all the way to the end, but it should make for an exciting finish, I'm thinking anyway. All right, well, I think that's about everything. We've found a couple angles here. The day after the Super Bowl, I'm sure everybody, like Steve said, is all betted out. But if you're hanging around the house and you decide you want to make a couple plays, hopefully we've helped find you a couple things we believe are some good bets to come out of these games. All right, well, that's going to do it for us, Steve. You got any programming notes, things coming up?
Everything's been on the ticker at the bottom, so that's basically about it. We got we got this show all week, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
So more hockey talk tomorrow night, and then season 1, episode 1 of our new show, Inquisition Unknown.
Exciting stuff.
George Norrie as guest. That'd be good.
Excellent. All right, we're excited about that here in the studio. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. What the Puck is going on? Tune in, and we will see y'all tomorrow, 6 p.m. All right, good luck and good evening.